Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Anastasia and in this video I'm going to take you along with me as I research more for my current fantasy project. Let's hop on my bicycle and cycle to the library in the city center. As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day and I loved that I went outside instead of staying in my room. Now I've seen the sunlight and I felt the wind in my hair. It just gives me so much more motivation to start doing the things I like to be doing. Sometimes you just need a different place to work on your novel or any essays that you've been doing, and just this change in environment can motivate you so much to start working again, and in my case start researching and continue diving into the topics that I've been trying to get more information about for my book. And so this little cycle and just being somewhere else outside immediately shifted me into a different mindset and helped me get back on track of where I left off. When I go to the library, I always bring my black notebook, which basically has all my random notes about the magic system, certain ideas I had somewhere, something about the characters, as well as some major plot things that I suddenly came up with and just needed to jot down somewhere. It's just a bunch of information that I use as a background for my story when I'm writing and when I'm like feeling inspired. But it's a mess. Like, I have things going through each other, different topics, and if I get new information or new ideas, I just put them on the next page and there is no organization whatsoever. It's a mess. And that's why I also have another notebook that I usually write the story itself in. I use this more to like build the story and like really have the structure and the story outline in there. I realized that by doing this on paper, it makes it so much easier for me to continue and move forward. And instead of overthinking what I've written down and changing it up over and over again, I'll just finish my sentences whilst I'm writing, and that just makes me stay in the flow of writing and not overthinking if it's like correctly done. But these days I go to the library to do some research, and so I don't really need that notebook because I'm not actually trying to write the story itself. I'm just jotting down ideas about the plants and the animals and what kind of species could be living there, what kind of creatures I can create, and kind of like get used to more details about the world. So on this specific research day, I also brought some bio newspapers, which is something I still have from when I studied biology at my university. And these are just papers with a bunch of different scientific discoveries and innovations that they've come up with recently. And because I've collected them throughout the years, these go from like 3 years back to now, so there's a lot of different things that have happened and that they have discovered. And so I use these papers to get inspirations for like funny characteristics or unusual things I hadn't thought about myself, and I mark them depending on like what kind of topic they are. Some of these colors are like meant for species characteristics, for example plants or animals, and others are for human characteristics or more environmental processes or things that are talking about functions in the human body, how they could be altered, or how they're trying to do more research about certain topics. And I can use that, especially because I'm doing experiments in my book, and these experiments are done on humans as well. So some crazy stuff is happening in this world, and these innovations and Discoveries can help me with figuring out what that exactly entails. After working through that, I took a little break and had some lunch. Before I dived back into my existing outline, so I said that I have my outline in this other notebook, but because I use Scrivener, I also have an outline in that software, and here I just jot down the way that I want to structure my chapters. Usually I have some bullet points. I start with the point of view of the character and their location, and then I have a small summary of what I want to happen in this chapter, and then it follows with some key points of certain scenes that need to happen, certain characters that need to be in there, some details, but it really depends on how much I've already thought about this scene or this specific chapter. Sometimes it's very vague, other times there's so much in there that it feels like it's almost a whole chapter already. Along the way, I get like more excited about a certain chapter or a certain scene, and I jot down ideas again and I write them down, change the outline, and just make the details more flow into the story that I've already written and created. At the end of the day, I made a little to-do list of my outline so I know where each scene needs to go in a general scheme of what the book Save the Cat Writes a Novel does. Although I'm not entirely sure if I want to be as strict like those guidelines state how the book should be written, because I feel like I need a little bit of freedom in the way that I write my chapters and story, and I'll probably move away from my initial outline anyways. It's just there to remind me of where I initially wanted the story to go to, and every time that I've written or I've come up with new ideas, this outline changes and it's flexible. It doesn't stay the way that it always has been. I can't remember how many times I've already changed what was in there. So no matter what kind of structure or backbone I use for my stories, things will always change. And I think it will always remain that way. So the outline is just there as a reminder of what I want to do, but it doesn't restrict me in any way. After working in the library for a couple of hours, I finally went home and treated myself to something delicious. It's homemade tiramisu. And in the evening, I went to the gym to play some padel, which is like a really nice way of letting the day go by some exercise. I hope you enjoyed this little day in the life update about my current project and how my researching is going. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!